Hello, EMS gamers. Okay, this game that I've got for you now is PvP. It is FOD versus Genie. That is Felix versus Yanis. I've got to be honest with you, I would tip either one of these players to make it through to the final of our novice tournament. I've seen both of them play. I know that both of them have put in a few hours of practice. Both of them have got some game. I also know this is a single game that I've got. It's only one game they've sent me, but I do know that they played 5 games and it went to 2 apiece. So actually this is a decider. So without further ado, I'm going to load the game up. I was hoping that somebody would appear online that was could maybe co-cast with me, but nobody has. So I'm kind of looking forward to this game. It's on Overgrowth, a map that I really like actually. Overgrowth was a great map from back in the day. It's a good 1v1 map, very easy to get up to. Really quickly up to 2 bases, 3 bases, and indeed just a good macro map in general. A relatively short rush distance as well though, so you know, a pretty cool map. At this stage I've got to give a shout out to my GCSE Enhance students, some of whom I know have been watching the channel, so big up to you guys. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Some of whom I know have even been playing a little bit. So let's introduce the players. Here we have in the bottom left it's FOD, that is Felix, and up in the top right it is Genie, and that is Yanis. Both of these players playing Protoss. This is a great map for Protoss. It's a great map for everything really. I cannot wait to see what these guys get up to. Bear in mind, you know, for us this is just one game. For them this is very much the decider. Having played 4 games already and going, they went to 1-all and then they went to 2-all. So let's see what sort of builds these guys are going to get up to. So far so good, everything looking very normal. FOD somewhat behind. Is he going to go for a fast expo? Is he going to do it? Is he going to go Nexus first? Is he? I think he is. There's only a pylon down. There's nothing building. He's going to drop a Nexus. And surely he's not going to drop it here. He's got the money for a Nexus. What are you doing, FOD? He drops gas. What? Is this going to be a proxy build? No, there's the Nexus. Okay. Slightly delayed, but that's alright. Has not got enough money to drop a gateway. You know, if you do go Nexus first, really important that you drop that gateway as soon as you can afford it. You know, Nexus first can be great. You can, if it works out for you, you set yourself up with a great economical advantage. But of course, it does leave you vulnerable to very early pushes. What's this? I see FOD also building Forge. You know, back in the day, FFE was such a standard play for Protoss players, and FFE stands for Forge Fast Expand. And on a map like this, what you typically would have done would have been to drop your first pylon either here or here, drop the forge next to it, drop the nexus, get the gateway up, get a cannon behind, and you're in pretty reasonable shape. The cannon is there to hold off any early pressure. And you know, you've got your expo up long before your opponent. So FFE, a very standard build, especially against Zerg play, because you would end up walling this completely with a cannon behind it, so that you are protected against any lings or anything like that. So FOD is going to be the first of these 2 players to scout. This worker will get in uncontested. Genie has got the side core finished, but is not building a mothership core. And I find that a little disconcerting as a Protoss player. That mothership core is such a crucial unit early game. You know, the mothership core's spellcasting abilities allow it to overcharge pylons, and you know, 2 pylons at the front door like this can actually see off a surprising amount of stuff that turns up at your base early. So this worker will get in, have a look around. It needs to go behind the mineral line here and see what there is to see. Interesting choice from Genie. We've got this Twilight, but also a Robo building, so I'm not sure what he's got in mind. Meanwhile, over here, Side Core just finishing up for FOD. Are we going to see the Mothership Core come out from him? Oh, okay. Genie has gone for the Shrine. Is this my DT drop build? Genie, is that what you're building? Is it? Yeah. It might be. Generally, I have a build that I like to crank out as Protoss. it is going to be the drop build. And with a little bit of polish, you can do this build. You can get a warp prism across the map ready to drop in DTs. You need to have 3 gateways up though. So you'll have 3 gates, you'll have warp gate researched, you'll have an expo, you'll have a mothership core and a stalker at home to hold off any potential pressure from your opponent. And at the 4-minute 30 mark, you drop 3 Dark Templars into your opponent's base. This is maybe a bit of a variation on it. There is no expo for Genie, which makes this a little bit all in. I like to play it with the expo. It doesn't really slow down the DTs. 4 minutes 30 is when they'll appear in your opponent's base. And you've got the mothership core and the stalker at home, so you know if a handful of units turn up, you can see that off. This is a little bit more all in. If these DTs do not get work done, and here they come, but he doesn't have the gateways, does he? He's only got 1 gateway, so that's a bit of a slip up, really. You know, a single DT can still be effective if there's no detection, but we have got cannons down at the front here. There are no cannons in the main though. So, oh, Dark Shrine also coming down for Felix here. So I'm really, really interested to see what we're going to have happening. Look at this. Yeah, he is researching the brand new blink ability for DT, so I'm quite excited to see how well that plays out. I haven't used it myself yet. This is literally brand new. Why didn't you drop one there? He's going. Oh, okay. Now he goes back. Yeah, drop one. No, don't drop them both. Just drop one. Drop one here, one in the main. Needs to micro these a little bit. Doesn't want them to get shot by the. I don't know about this position. Doesn't want to get them shot up. Wants to keep them well away from these cannons. Do bear in mind the detection range of. Oh, okay. The detection range of the cannons is larger than their firing range, so needs to keep them well clear. So is he going to blink these about? Has it finished? Hasn't quite finished yet, the blink ability. No. Yeah, so Yanis has got this single DT still in here. It has 2 kills to its name. If we have a quick look at the units lost tab, we can see that 7 workers have been killed. But, you know, that doesn't really make up for the fact that Felix had this early expo. What I'm a little bit disappointed by though, Felix, is, you know, this main is not saturated. So, yes, you've given yourself, in theory, an economic advantage, but you know you haven't capitalized on it because, oh, whoops, because you're not saturating those mineral lines. So we can see that there is an economic advantage, but you know it could be significantly more. Not as far as I know. Yeah, the shrine is finished up here. So I'm just wondering. Where are Felix's DTs? Is this them coming? No. You know, because you can be reasonably confident if your opponent is busy microing DTs and mucking about in your base, they're probably not up to much at home. I'd really like to see a cannon come down at the back here. If you know your opponent is mucking about, dropping DTs, why wouldn't you have a cannon here to protect these workers? I do not know. Genie does have this observer parked in his opponent's base. I'd like to see that move around really, because you know, if we look at what it can see at present, yeah, sure, it sees the forge, it knows that there's a building up there, it knows that there's a building there, like, unless he's clicked on that, he doesn't know what that building is. So, you know, move it around and get some idea of what it is that your opponent is teching up to. At present, FOD, I don't know why you've built this shrine if you're not going to use it. Now, over here, we can see that Genie, not quite saturated either. That's kind of doing my head in a little bit. Look at all this tech, you know. He's gone up to the Robo Bay. If you are hoping to crank out Colossus, this could be bad. He's got these sentries, he needs to use them. You can trap these DTs in, you can keep everything blocked out. Yeah, I think I would have preferred aggressive force fields. I think I would have preferred the force fields going down behind these units rather than blocking them out. Trap them in. You've got the superior force, you're backed up with these cannons. You know, you would have absolutely minced that. So you could have claimed all of those. You could have trapped them in, locked them home with the force fields. But yeah, as I was saying, Genie, if you're hoping to produce Colossus from this, you're going to need maximum income. So not saturating your mineral lines, guys, is a bit. I find that hard to forgive. Hard to forgive, if I'm honest. As a rule of thumb, don't take your finger off the probe button. Constantly be building workers until such times as you have 3 bases up and mining. Once you're on 3 bases saturated, don't build any more workers, because at that point you've got the income to support pretty much production of any kind of tech you want. And if you are still, I don't know about this, if you're still building workers, you're actually using up supply that you could otherwise use on your army. Okay, what is he building here? It's a gateway, it's 2 gateways, it's 3 gateways. I'm not sure the purpose of this, really. Have these 2 of these gateways at home. Have 1 gateway here, sure, so that you get those faster warp-ins if you're planning some sort of assault. But I don't really see the value in 3 gateways on the other side of the map. I don't see what those other 2 gateways are adding. This warp prism, meanwhile, warp prisms are great. Notice that the warp prism warp-in in the power field produced by a warp prism is as fast as a warp in next to a pylon that is powering a warp gate. If you're not familiar with that concept, warp-ins are quicker if the pylon powers a warp gate. Now you need to run past these cannons. Why assault the cannon? Because you've got 1 cannon. I don't agree with that at all. Run straight past. Just run straight past, and you'd still have 2 DTs. You've lost 2 DTs for a cannon. Cannon costs 150. Those 2 DTs, that's 125 gas apiece. I don't like that exchange. I'd have run straight past. Up in here, those DTs are doing all sorts of damage. You're getting all sorts of value from them. Tackling a cannon, nothing really. And of course, you've now alerted your opponent to the fact that you have got Dark Templar tech. So mistakes coming out from both players. Well, let's have a look at the APM tab. Average APM, they're pretty busy, Felix. Genie, no slouch either. These are reasonable APMs. You can see that both of them are working away at present. Go back to the production tab. Upgrades are flying. Not very many units in production. If we have a quick look at the income tab, we can see that both of them have a reasonable income, although at this stage in the game, past the 10-minute mark, you'd like these numbers to be up closer to the 2000 mark. But neither of them on 3 bases yet. Okay, random cannons now just appearing. These will probably catch out this observer if Genie isn't concentrating. What other tech do we have coming up? It's mostly just upgrades. I don't see any changes to the tech happening. I would very much like to see Genie make use of, if you've bothered to build a robo and a robo bay, make use of research this extended thermal lens. Okay, so Felix decided he needs to clean this out, and I think that's a good choice. Does he have detection? No, he doesn't. You know your opponent has the DTs, and you've waited in here with no detection. If you're not careful, you need to run. You can't fight this stuff if you can't see it. If you're not careful, you're going to lose a lot of expensive units. I don't like to see those sentries go down for free like that. Those are expensive. 100 gas apiece. You move closer to the cannons. Don't be chasing stuff down that you can't see. So I like that he moved out. But given what you already know about your opponent, you need to take detection. I'm not sure about this. Queued up upgrades, or just that's just money that you could have spent in a better way. So given how much these cost, that costs a couple of hundred, doesn't it? 200, I think, or something like that. It's like level 3, that's 250, isn't it? So you could have built a second forge, and by the time this is done, then you have a second forge to start on this and this simultaneously. So why the queue? I see a lot of gateways here, and I see them idle. You have got a reasonable income, so keep on building those units. Likewise over here in Genie's base, these are a lot of idle gateways. Are these just reserve gateways or something? I don't know. So there is a reasonable force here for FOD, but do remember, FOD, your opponent has Dark Templar tech, so you are really going to need to think about detection. Down in this bottom corner, if you're building this expo, you need cannons to protect it. You know that this warp prism is flying about looking for trouble. You know that there's Dark Templar to be had, so I'd really like to see this protected by, you know, at least 2 cannons, 3 cannons. A couple of cannons, just enough. It's just enough to buy you time, really. It doesn't have to see the DTs off on its own. It just has to buy you time so that you can warp in units, so that you can get there with your main army. So, as it stands, slightly confusing on the tech front. There is finally a Colossus in production, and these workers are a bit confused. There is a Colossus in production, but you know, you had this Robo Bear, you've had this for like 10 minutes or something, man. And there it is, look, with the I can't remember the name of the skins, but yeah, with the fancy skins and everything, they're very nice. That Colossus coming out. Don't know about this. Why wouldn't you build it on your own side of the map? It's just asking for trouble. Let's have a look at the army tab. So, army supply seriously in favour of FOD. But if he doesn't have detection, it is worthless. You know, Genie has a large number of DTs going to town here and doing all sorts of damage. You knew he had them. You've known that he's got them for a long time. Meanwhile, he needs to focus down this Void Ray. He needs to micro this a little bit. These units are beginning to look a bit confused here. Does he have Blink? I'm not so sure. Needs to focus down this Colossus. Should be okay against it, should fall pretty quickly. He's got a lot of stuff up in here, he's got a lot of stuff. This big warp in, Genie, why isn't this a warp in of Dark Templars? Your opponent has got the protection. I appreciate that you don't necessarily know that for sure. I love that force feed. You need to drop another one though. Oh, okay. Doesn't really matter. You've got more than enough to see off this little stream of zealots. Is this going to be the counter on the other side of the map? I would like it to be. There are enough cannons and units here to hold this though. These if FOD's paying attention, you can just force feed this out all day long. Probably won't even need to though. If we look at the upgrades, 1-1 here for Genie, 1-2 for FOD. He is going to see this off very comfortably indeed. The workers are heading across the map for Genie. Genie knows he's in trouble. The army supply has plummeted. It's heavily in favour of FOD. I think this is going to be GG. Genie, what have you got? What are you building? Have you got money in the bank? Not a great deal. Have you got an income? You have. That isn't going to last for long once these charged zealots get amongst this mineral line. I think it is curtains. I think it is over. Genie building the sort of ninja down at the bottom here. Was he ever aware that this setup was here? He wasn't. At no time did he know about that. It's bad times. This is surely curtains for Genie. Okay. He is moving the workers out. I fear though that has led his opponent to this ninja down in the bottom. You know, this is mucking about really. I'm not sure about FOD's plan to follow those workers with everything. You know, they're only workers. Why not only send a few zealots after them while the rest of your army just cleans this up? Because, yeah, okay, you've taken out his expos and stuff, but you haven't really touched his production. So if he does have money in the bank, he could be warping in a whole army of DTs. As it turns out, he doesn't, and this is simply the end. Genie, these workers going for it, chasing this stalker down, and for reasons best known to itself, the stalker is running. What am I even seeing here? Look how weird this looks on the minimap. Just a bunch of stuff walking along next to each other. I don't really get it. It does, however, look like FOD is unaware of this in the corner. He is unaware of it. So you never know, that might get up and running, but I don't think it's going to matter. FOD's income appears to be pretty healthy, and look, he did manage to get those workers down there, so you know this is a fully saturated mineral line, and now this production can come into its own, because this DT is just going to go ham, isn't it? There's still no detection for FOD. How much work can this DT get done? Quite a lot, I would imagine. Oh, the Artosis pylon, the single pylon part and all of that stuff. That's horrible to watch. Oh no, what a mistake to make it. Famously called the Artosis pylon. Artosis was famous for having all of his gateways running off a single pylon. I don't know that it's a mistake he made often, but he certainly made it once or twice. And unfortunately lost games due to just being de-pyloned. And Genie certainly has been de-pyloned. FOD has found your best down here. There are no DTs down here to save you. This is GG. It is all over. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I did quite enjoy it. There were mistakes from both sides, but oh my goodness, whoa, that's a lot of sentries. I'm not sure about that. I mean, you know, maybe against Zerg that's gone heavy lane or Ben lane or something, but against Protoss, that's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so might as well send in the sentry army to clean this up. You are going to be uncontested here. At this stage of the game, you know, if your opponent is mucking about, it's always worth just splitting your army up, sending a couple of units to each mineral patch on the map, so that your opponent cannot get down another sneaky expand. Pops the Guardian Shield there, very wise. You never know, one of these buildings might shoot at you or something like that. Yeah, man. Well played, Felix. Well played indeed. Well played indeed. So he has rebuilt his base up in the corner. He's had the well played. There hasn't been a GG, but oh, oh look, 15 kills, man. The only redeeming feature is that you will easily kill all this stuff before the DT can kill you. But look, he's loving life, this DT, isn't he? He's just popping sentries one at a time. Oh man. I'm a little confused as to why you wouldn't have detection by this stage of the game. I don't understand it. You know, why wouldn't you just throw down a rowboat and fire out some detection? I don't know. Genie, he's not quitting here, is he? He's not quitting. Look, you know, there he is, look. Oh no, where is he? Come here. 19 kills on this one unit. It looks like the game's up though. Come on, Genie. I've got nothing else to say. And it is all over. Genie was indeed defeated. That's it, man. GG. Well played.